Yeah? Yeah, room, mama. Good morning. My name is Secretaries, Chair. How do you react to the leader? Do you have any emotional intelligence or you are moved by emotions? You know? There is a difference between emotional intelligence and being moved by emotions. So, when we have a long week, but through the operation, I want to believe that you will be able to have a calm. You need to have a president for this. It's very important, the president for this class. And this president will help us, number one, he can show you that we have been here all the time. So, how many are interested in becoming the president? You don't give you because I know they are going to be there. Must be here. We want to take him to be the leader of this cohort, this convention. Come on, my ambitions. For me, I can't do it. So your ambitions are high. Even at this class. How many opportunities do we have for Kisumu County? Kisumu. We're going to Kisumu Live. The spirit is not with me to appoint by you, I don't know. When they propose what we see, they don't just say, this is one. What is yes, what is started? This is nothing. Perfect. So this is Professor. Okay, just introduce yourself and say something at the president.
Of course, I want to be grateful for having been given an opportunity to be a president. You know, I'm becoming a president, when the lead president is also being the president. I have to know my parameters, how to operate. Otherwise, if I go overboard, I may find myself in trouble. So I'm requesting members of the country who are here to help me steer this team and time. Maybe as a president, I may request it from the duty we also say that I'm going to give up years. So when that comes, don't think of running away, I put to the case ahead of time. Of course, the party is there. Well, business must have deputies. And since you mentioned too soon, I have a deputy against us. That is the one we do with my deputy. Because he started by asking soon for since the chair is the president, my deputy should not be my deputy. And he did unless she backs out.
In the spirit of networking, I also appreciate Ghana. I request the deputy president to be elected from another country.
That's why there was a relation. What did you mean? I have no problem with Jeremy also. Yeah. Let the president use his speech, please. Now, put on Jeremy. Madam, so I will not expect cooperation from the team so that we move on. When we do have the 5 minutes, I hope your watches and videos is not running. Those who have smartphones. So continue today. First time wasted without it. Otherwise, thank you so much. My advice, you know what you say?
Good morning. This is the deputy.
Now,
sana, Your Excellency. Asante sana.
In regard to their promotion of governance, their practices, the policies they have put in place, and we give them award or rank them based on how they compare with others. Among other activities that the institute undertakes in promotion of good governance is programs like these ones, where we bring together various sectors. We just did one for state corporations in the same area, where we brought together all boards of state corporations, board members who have recently been appointed, in which the program we had this February, we had around 600 board members. We did around 4 of them last year, a total of 1,500 board members of state corporations. We've also brought together other sectors like the water sector, where again we've inducted them on governance, SACCO societies, and various other sectors. So this is just one of the many programs, Your Excellency, where the Institute has been actively engaged in various sectors just to promote the practice of good governance. The other thing we do as an institute in promotion of good governance, the institute runs a mentorship and internship program for students and young members. And quite a majority of the participants here are working in the county public service boards. I know the county public service boards are the employers at the counties. Should you have vacancies for internship, the institute every year takes 100 students to take them through a mentorship program. And once you finish in the mentorship program, we normally look for them places they can be attached. We'll be happy. The people that go through our mentorship program are well trained on matters governance, and they'll be happy to support your institutions at the county level. The other thing that the institute does in terms of promotion of good governance is development of various governance instruments. We have indeed worked, especially in the state corporations, we have worked with a number of them to develop their governance codes, their board charters, evaluation, and all instruments relating to good governance. One of the discussions that we are holding currently with the County Public Service Board National Consultative Forum is a possibility of developing a code of governance want covered so that the Institute can facilitate in the development of such. So, Your Excellency, we are honored to have you. The participants here have as I have mentioned, majority of them are from county governments, with around 19% being from county public service boards. These are the boards that employ and deal with all the child matters in the county governments. So the purpose of this program, Your Excellency, is just to discuss issues of professionalism and good governance in a political context, understanding the context in which they are operating, and how can they ensure they stand up to the right things wherever they are called upon. So we have lined up a number of topics for discussion in the course of this program. Among the topics that we'll be discussing, we'll be looking at professionalism in the context of public service. We'll also be looking at how to navigate political interference. We'll also be looking at strategic and legacy leadership. And maybe among the most important one, which sometimes is ignored, is the issue of management of meetings. And noting that boards operate in the context of meetings. The whole role of a board is to make decisions. And decisions are not made in the streets. They are made in a context of a meeting. And for that reason, if boards are able to professionalize their meetings, then they have achieved almost half of what they are supposed to achieve. So without much ado, I want to mention that the Institute is in discussion, as I mentioned earlier, with the County Public Service Board, National Consultative Forum. Their leadership are in this forum, and for that reason I want to invite CS Dr. Nodet to come and make a few remarks in regards to these collaborations and these discussions. And just for clarification, for the benefit of those who are not members of the Institute, when we talk of CS, we are not meaning cabinet secretary. I went to the other day at Saroba Woodlands in Nakuru, and the general manager there said, "Karibu sana CS," and I saw everybody stood attention and welcome Karibu Waziri. CS means cabinet secretary. So CS Dr. Mutet, although soon you might also be a cabinet secretary, can I make a few remarks regarding the forum?
Thank you, FCS Karanja, for the Institute. Fellow members attending this conference and distinguished guests, Your Excellency, allow me to say good morning. I'm asked to make a remark about the forum, and by forum here we are referring to the National Consultative Forum for County Public Service Boards. The 47 of them, Your Excellency, the 47 boards from 47 counties have formed themselves into a forum that is duly registered with the Registrar of Societies, for simple reason that the act that forms the boards did not foresee the possibility of that apex unit for boards. So in order to further governance and particularly in devolved units, boards saw it necessary to constitute themselves into that body, which helps boards in consorting among themselves for the purpose of ensuring similarity or unity in some of the decisions that we make. When a difficult decision comes, which we do not know how to go about it, that body is used as the one to consult and to give direction as to how the other 47 governments or should should take a decision. How is this body, Your Excellency, structured? The body is structured in such a way that the National Executive Committee consists of 9 members. The 9 members are drawn from the membership of the forum, and that is the 47 governments. So at the head of that forum, we have a chair, who is Honorable Kopio. He is not in today, for he is this afternoon is in Parliament presenting something. And there is also a vice chair, who is Farida, is not present again. She has been sick, suffering from something, the red eye. So even if she was here, she could not see, I'm told. So that is also a way of communicating the apology. Then we have the Secretary General, who is joining or who is present. And then we have CS again, Samson Kibi. And we have the National Treasurer, who is myself, CS Nicodemus Muteti, as has been said. And we have other members. We have 3 other members. We have FCS Gate, who is, I think, present. We have Wandi Wasike, who is joining sometime tomorrow. And we have Jenny from Northeastern, who is later joining in the week. That is the apex leadership of this organization, Your Excellency. But before I hand over the mic, allow me, Your Excellency, to confirm that boards are not without challenges. We go through a myriad of challenges, but while many might be said, allow me only to highlight 2. And one of them is the fact that recognizing ICS is the body that is responsible for conducting accredited audits. We have yet to be audited as boards to get that clearance for accreditation. I hope the CEO has taken that. We would be willing to be audited so that clarity of our operations are confirmed and reported. Number 2, Your Excellency, boards are going through a heavy challenge of financial independence. Normally, we rely on funding from the executive wing of government, of counties, and some of the boards may be going through difficulties. Others, I would say, we are keen because we have that kind of financial independence. I think I would say the law that formed the body, although it assumed boards would be independent, that aspect of financial independence was overlooked. And from the few interactions now, we are of the opinion that boards would function better and more professional than they are currently if they were financially independent. Your Excellency, boards are supposed, as institutions, be seen and appear to be independent. But I would confirm that this may not be the case currently because of that challenge. However, we look forward to a time we are going to be fully independent in order to provide and deliver the services required of us. And with that remark, I will stop there and say, Karibu Sana, Your Excellency. Members, I was tasked by the organizing committee to reach His Excellency, and apparently I didn't know him. I only knew him by name, and it was a big task for me. But somehow, using conduct, I managed to reach him, and finally we were given that positive note that
forum like the one you have, at times when you find that you have got a challenge, a major challenge, you can always share. And then you get the opportunity of listening to each other, and then you can get the way forward. And so we are going to be here for 4 days. And the timetable, the program has been laid before you. When you look at it, you find a lot of concentration on governance issues. And so we look forward to this. In conclusion, I wish to challenge all of us to engage very productively and openly so that we get the best out of this situation. I will not make more remarks than that, but before I invite His Excellency to address us, please allow me to introduce the council members who are present, and I wish to request them to be upstanding. And further, I request them to just take 2 steps forward. These council members, Your Excellency, are elected, and I believe that you must have also been involved in the election. You must have been a voter, and therefore you must have voted them in, because they can't have been voted in without your votes. And so I want to request each of them just to say their name, and then we close at that point.
Your Excellency, members, my name is Judy Walloy, and I'm a council member.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Secretary Kariuki. County office, I come from Kirinyaga County. I don't know whether we're in the house. I'm a council member.
Good morning. My name is William Kema, I'm a council member.
Please be seated. My name is Joshua Kua, and I'm honored to serve as the chairman of the district, and I come from the county. Our vice chair operates from Mombasa, so was not able to make it, and a number of other council members were not able to make it. But Your Excellency, our agenda is quite balanced. Don't be deceived with the situation you see. We are 50-50 actually, excluding the chairman. And I think that is a achievement as far as we're concerned. So without much ado, I wish now to take this opportunity to ask all of us to be upstanding. As we invite His Excellency Honorable CS Dr. Stephen KALONZO MUSYOKA to make his keynote address and officially open this convention. Thank you very much.
She teaches ICT abroad out of the country in South Africa. Her name is Nora Bosibori. From either Kisi or from Dagoretti, one of those two. Okay. She's chairman, allow me. This thing called politicians.
when you talk of political leaders, I think you give them some safe landing. That's it. And now CS, fellow FCS is fellow certified secretary. This young friend of mine here. When my good friend, learned friend, Mwangi will speak, and I will not leave here until I hear him. Allow me just to hear him. Because it's no more that you come, make your remarks and disappear. But that is an authority in terms of evolution in this country, transitional authority chair, and a man I'm sure who can walk. He walks 17 kilometers every week from what I gather. So I'd like to hear him. Because if I had said FCS, Karanja, that you made a deplorable statement at that event. Was it, you said Soroba?
Yes, in 2014.
Yeah, in 2014. Probably it would have discouraged you so much that you will not be here today. So I think you have to buy me a drink. Buying a drink is not a major factor. So sometimes it's good to just shout and encourage. Even though you may think less of a presentation, please don't say, hey, what on earth have you said? Encourage. But I think that knowing him, he's really come a long way, and you are yet to see. Look at how young and thin he looks. By the time he looks at the chair, he will have gone very far. I must also introduce a friend who is also accompanying me, one or two others actually. His name is Zachary Nyambane. He is a chairman of Abagusi Professionals and Business Trust. So you're in the right place to hear about good governance. And one I should not mention, but I must mention, because it controls my daily life from a political party point of view. He's the executive director of WIPA, Wamutura himself, the other team. Allow me to confess that the gentleman who was sent by Dr. Muteti to look for me is called Bishop Chagua. He's sitting out there. I say he's a very good friend of mine. Come a long way. He comes from the end of the world in Kambani. I'm so disappointed that my own county, what is it? My home county is Kitui. I would have liked to see the chairperson of the county public service, but I'm sure this matter will be communicated to the county service board. But be that as it may, I beg of you a few minutes so I can be done with my presentation. But I must also say that our friends on the other side of leadership of this country are, I think, down there enjoying the lake view. That is Kenya Kwanza administration. You see them, tell them I greeted. We are one nation, one people. And I hope they're also taking time to think of good governance, because that is our problem. Therefore, ICS Chairman, FCS Joshua Bua, MPS, Moran or something, Moran, and then County Public Service Board Chairperson, so you've seen some of you, of course members of the Institute itself, Chief Executive Officer Gandhirumea Karanja, members of the County Public Service Boards, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. Kenyans have become a boring lot. You know, there's nothing written anywhere. And I am a practitioner in diplomacy. somebody in Kenya started saying, because he could not name everybody, and then they say, all protocols are. There's no such thing. But the guys who wrote my speech have said, all protocols are. It's actually a very annoying thing to say, and it is contrary to good governance. If you don't want to mention people, don't mention them. That's okay. As a member of the Institute of Certified Secretaries, I have a great honor and deep feeling of responsibility to open this County Governance Convention this year. This gathering provides an opportunity for us to think, collaborate, and map a route for better government in our counties and across our nation. As we gather here, it is our duty to recognize the vital role that county governments, county assemblies, and county public service boards play in the governance of the county governments. Within the devolved entities, you all act as a main point of contact for services provided to the ordinary Mwananchi, directly influencing the quality of service delivery to our citizens. It is common knowledge that county public service boards, which are appointed by the executive and approved by the county assembly, wield a considerable power over hiring, promoting, and disciplining employees at the county public service level. The County Governments Act number 17 of 2012, which specifies your duty under sections 49 to 86, highlights a critical role you play in maintaining the principles of meritocracy, accountability, and openness in our public institutions. It is crucial to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that county government representatives, whether in the executive, county assembly, or county public service boards, function within a precarious autonomy framework. Where there is a requirement for independence in decision-making, county government officials, especially CPBSs, must manage the executive expectations as well as the county assembly's examination of devolved unit governance. Therefore, while we attempt to investigate ways of reaching this balance, the theme of this convention, quote-unquote, professionalism and good governance in a political context, is appropriate. To maintain this balance, county government officials must be unwaveringly committed to corporate governance principles and follow established procedures and standards. Moreover, the duties assigned to the CPSPSs are extensive and include several facets. In fact, county public service boards have a significant impact on how our county public service develops, from human resource management to the creation of HR policies and strategic planning, from hiring and promoting staff to assessing performance management systems. As we discuss the problems and possibilities that our county governments face, let us reaffirm our shared commitment to preserving the highest ethical standards and advancing good governance practices. We must guarantee that our officers have the appropriate tools, resources, and assistance to be able to carry out their responsibilities successfully and transparently. Furthermore, the national government must ensure that counties have appropriate and timely resources to carry out their tasks efficiently. From the time of its establishment in 2013, county public service boards have been essential to several accomplishments. There were many obstacles to overcome when the first county government was established in 2013, and it is important to honor and remember the men and women who worked in county public service boards during that period, because they were instrumental in its creation. Notwithstanding these achievements, there are still certain problems that need to be resolved and improved for both the national government and county administrations. Every aspect of our society is impacted by the knock-on effects of bad governance, which which range from election malpractice to the weakening of institutional autonomy. Widespread accusations of corruption, resource mismanagement, and discriminatory employment practices exposed in recent publications cast a pall over the values of openness, responsibility, and justice that ought to guide our public institutions. Numerous independent organizations, including the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission, and the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions have conducted investigations that have uncovered systemic issues that require our nation's immediate attention. Furthermore, the conclusions drawn by the Controller of Budget and the Auditor General emphasize the necessity of taking immediate measures to protect our resources and rebuild the public's lost faith. There are several questions and that demand replies, ladies and gentlemen. What ails our counties? Is there professional scarcity in our counties? Is there a lack of governance mechanisms, procedures, and tools to carry out the required governance functions? Are there insufficient deterrents, penalties, or repercussions in place? What must we do to rescue what remains and save the situation? Earlier this month, the Public Service Commission, which is now the umbrella body, and I really do agree with the presentation that it looks like there was a serious omission when we were doing our Constitution 2010 and dealing with the issue of devolution. We should not just have stopped at the county public service board level. There should be an umbrella body, and I'm going to comment on that, in line with what I think. But again, PSC itself filed a report on falsifying academic credentials to the EACC and the NSIC. I mentioned those acronyms because I mentioned their full titles, like NCIC, National Cohesion. According to the report, 1,280 of the 53,000, now of the 53,599 instances that were referred to the Kenya National Examinations Council had their certificates confirmed to be fake, and further verification is anticipated to raise this figure. What does that tell us about our country and about governance? Another example is the NCIC 2023 audit report, which reviews concerning patterns in employment diversity among Kenya's 47 counties. Only 10 tribes account for nearly 80% of county employment, while 29 other tribes, called them communities, account for just 1% of county work prospects. According to the research, the number of counties complying with national recruitment standards has decreased from 21 in 2016 to just 13 as of 2022. The Constitution's values of inclusion and equality are undermined by the persistent disregard for the County Governments Act provision requiring the allocation of positions among varied communities, particularly taking into account minority communities within the counties. But so that you do not think I'm loading it over you, it's even worse at the national level. The fact that we have competitive national elections does not mean that the following 2 or 3 months as you form government, whoever forms government, has to disregard the constitutional values of inclusivity. And therefore, it's even worse when it comes to hiring members of our defense forces. As a practicing CS, let me tell you and be open with you, friends, that if you mess up with the composition of a country's national defense forces, you have created a problem that will be impossible to cure, particularly in our region. Australia has been involved in trying to help our countries in the neighborhood to get life back on course. As we speak, there's a huge conflict. In the DRC, itself a member, recent member of the East African community. I'm told that the city of Goma may fall, it may not fall. It has a lot to do with the country's ability to guard its borders. I can tell you that I'm particularly perturbed the recent efforts at employing Kenyans who go out there, wanatolewa nguo, wanatoa shati, wanakimbia, and only to discover recruitment has happened in Nairobi. And kule kwa villages, there's nothing. And parents are there. That you want your child to become a member of the KDF, you have to part with 700,000 Kenyan shillings. That is how bad things are. Bad governance. Even at that level. Chairman, what are you going to do as a profession? I know you may be concentrating on corporate governance. The biggest corporation, an employer, is a national government. But when it comes to defense of a country, you need everybody to be included. This has been the practice since the days of the First Republic and Mzee Kenyatta, up to and including when we were there in Mzee Kibaki. We never want to say so many Kalenjins should join the army, so many Kikuyu, so many Kambas. But unfortunately, and I want to challenge you, this is now the problem with our defense forces. I believe our counties are not exceptional. County public service boards are equivalent, of course, to public service commission at county level. And I encourage county public service boards to cascade this and conduct verification in their respective counties. I'm referring here to the falsification of academic papers. I urge all of you to conduct due diligence during hiring, appointments, and promotions to prevent this from happening again, as I try to weed out personnel with fraudulent documents at the county level as well. Although issues such as political interference and favoritism continue to contribute to non-compliance, our counties require honesty, and county public service boards should play a major role in instilling strong governance practices in our counties. Ladies and gentlemen, even while the National Cohesion and Integration Commission promises to address these disparities, county public service boards play a critical role in ensuring equitable hiring practices across our delegated activities. Continuing in the spirit of problem solving, one option to consider is the adoption of incentives to reward and promote excellent leadership and ethical standards. And as chair, I want to very strongly commend that there be awards in that direction, where you celebrate meritocracy, achievement in good governance, and be able to scare away mediocrity. Conversely, we must also consider enhancing punitive measures to dissuade and penalize individuals who engage in corrupt behavior or misuse their own authority. In addition to regularly providing thought leadership through various publications that educate members and the general public on the most recent governance trends and requirements, ICS has already taken action by creating a platform for the celebration of exemplary governance through the Champions of Governance Awards. I'm already actually lagging behind the board because you're already on top of it. Additionally, ICS has provided training to institutions on sound governance practices such as this convention. I don't know whether you earn any points at the end of it. I am a member of the Law Society of Kenya, and and also at good standing, and now I'm exempt on account of age. You hit 65, you do not have to catch up with earning those points. I hope I can get civil exemption. But let me pause to remind you that you bear enormous obligations on behalf of Kenyans. You must not take your responsibilities lightly. As professionals, particularly governors, it is incumbent on us and on you to play an effective role in ensuring the presence of robust governance frameworks in our respective counties in order to promote accountability and transparency across all devolved activities. It is worth mentioning that as an institution, the ICS has done excellent work in defining governance standards to guarantee uniformity and consistency of governance practice, including in our county public service boards. Governance professionals, such as ICS members, must take the lead in pushing these efforts. I think we make this request that the code of governance for the county government be created by the Institute of Certified Secretaries. This will establish best practices and standards for governance. Ladies and gentlemen, when we consider the difficulties and opportunities that lie ahead, remember that the goal of strengthening governance is more than just policy or legislation. It is a moral necessity that speaks to the very essence of our country. Once again, I would like to thank the ICS and the County Public Service Board's Executive Committee for hosting this convention, which demonstrates your dedication to advancing good governance practices in our counties and in our nation. Before I make my concluding remark, allow me to deal with the issue that Dr. Mutete raised, and that is creating the apex body. Understand that it was advised that if you were to go back to the Senate, the National Assembly, and be able to cause a necessary amendment to the Act, the Constitution, like the Mother Act, it will take time. But sure, this is such an important thing, an omission in our devolution agenda. And I want to suggest that it be addressed. You may have noticed that I was co-chairing the National Dialogue Committee, whose report hopefully will be presented this afternoon in the National Assembly, and I hope it will also probably end up in the Senate. And some of these issues about meritocracy were actually canvassed before that committee. Therefore, I would want to urge, because we just do that under Society's Act, it doesn't give you the weight. And just as I was preparing to come to talk to you, last night I thought, wow, I swore twice to observe what the Constitution provides. Twice as Vice President. Actually swore twice. Twice. Once when I was appointed, the 10th Vice President, and then when the greatest achievement so far, which has even given rise to your sitting here today, was Constitution 2010, which late President Kibaki inaugurated. Then we all again had to be sworn in at Uhuru Park. Now, we should never be afraid of upholding the highest standards of performance. And now, you get confused by politicians. And because now, as it is, county public service boards have to defer to the county governments, to the county governors, the governors themselves. If the governor is unhappy with you as county public service boards, you end up trembling. You don't even feel, am I talking to somebody? If that is not the practice, you're the lucky ones. So what do you do? Because that in itself is a matter that needs to be addressed. It's a governance issue. What level of autonomy do county public service boards enjoy? And do you have to sit there until maybe the governor comes up and say, you know, there are opportunities that need, there are vacancies that to be filled, and until the governor writes to give you a list, you are not able to act on your own volition. And you know the gaps. You know the gaps, and you sit there. So to some extent, I find that the county public service boards may be idle. And yet, there's a lot to do. The Public Service Commission, whose chairman is Ambassador Muchiri, I have a lot of respect for him, appeared before us and argued that the level of suicides has gone up within the Public Service Commission because of the high cost of living. Any Kenyan today with a patient is feeling it. Maybe you guys look so serious, you don't feel the pain that other Kenyans are feeling. We heard this from the chairman of the Public Service Commission, who had the audacity to say it as it is. And you know, when we sat at the end of the day, we tried to conclude on the agenda item number 1 and the National Dialogue Committee, high cost of living, we could not understand. We could not even agree. And I'm quite sure Kenya Kwanza Coalition meeting here in NAIVASHA are themselves feeling it, but they don't want to say it. They don't want to say it because the chief executive tells them, you must toe the line. I got you elected. I got you elected. I'm not introducing politics to this forum, but the political context, Chair. Because you're operating within a political context. And if we're in this country, we must be open with each other. Call a spade, not a big spoon. You are professionals. I'm quite sure joining membership of County Public Service Board is not just a thing, a favor done to you. And I pray to God that none of you falls in the category of persons with falsified documents. Because then you will have a problem even before you begin. So that is the context within which we meet this morning in this magnificent facility. I think one of our best. I only came here once, I think some 2-3 years ago, and I brought our friends from South Sudan to try and agree between themselves. President Salva Kiir and his, that time Dr. Riek Machar had not agreed to be the second time first vice president. They agreed here. It's a beautiful place. And I think it's sort of a very good example of, enhancing our own domestic tourism. Much as a country will rely on arrivals from Germany, and William Ruto has even declared this country visa-free. So watch out for others who may come from very difficult destinations to come to our country. But Kenyans themselves must of necessity do what you're doing. I hope I can create a facility like this in Mwingi, and then you can come to the other end of the country. Or go to Kirinyaga. Or Embu. You go to Embu, you'll end up at Aisha Bolton, very old facility, which needs refurbishment. But let's do this everywhere. But as you do, when you go back to your stations, make a difference. Make a pitch for good governance. Believe you me, we are all in the same boat as Kenyans. Whether we are Kenya Kwanza or Azimio, we are in the same boat. And don't you over-rely and make political leaders, now I'm using the right term, political leaders to confuse you, end up hating some political leaders because you don't know what they will do tomorrow. They will meet like advocates and lawyers, have a cup of coffee, and forget they were fighting each other to death just the other day. And this, I think, is a spirit. At that level, absolute good governance, where Kenyans can get together when everybody thinks we're in the brink, we pick our pieces and put our country together again, and on a pedestal that is development oriented. Since I said I must listen to my learned brother, Kinudhia Mwandi, I must attempt to conclude. My appeal to you, therefore, today is to rekindle our passion for our unshakable commitment to the pursuit of excellence in governance for the benefit of our counties and our country, and of course, for future generations. Let us work together to create a future in which our public institutions are known for their integrity, accountability, and service to the people. It has often been said that corruption has been devolved. That is my challenge to you. Are you then going to oversee situations where corruption is devolved to the county level? And what does that mean to professions as dignified and as honorable as the Institute of Certified Secretaries? Therefore, my pleasure to declare this convention officially open, and wish all of you a few days of deliberations. I thank you.
Yes, we may be seated, please. Thank you. Your Excellency, CS, Dr. KALONZO MUSYOKA, honorable members, Senator, members of the Consultative Forum, various county boards that are represented here by board chairs and members, chairman, ICS, and my fellow council members. It is my duty, but it really is more of a pleasure to pass a vote of thanks on behalf of the Institute to our chief guest for gracing us with his presence and for such a powerful keynote address. Your Excellency, you have mentioned key points in your address. You have highlighted the role of county boards in promoting various functions in the county and the impact that this role has. We've all heard the work that these counties do is really important. It has an impact on members of the public, on society in general. You've also highlighted some challenges, and some of these are related to governance, and we will be discussing them in the next few days. We will be trying to see how we can answer the questions and the challenge that you have posed to us. What must we do to salvage this situation? You have called on each one of us. We all have to be included. And it will please you, Your Excellency, to know when we were setting expectations, many members here want to know how they can infuse professionalism in the work that they do, how they can remain independent. So your address really resonates with what we will be doing here in the next few days. So we thank you, and we invite you to stay with us, not just for that next presentation, but for the full conference. You're invited, and we'll be happy to have you. So thank you very much. Let us clap and give him a very hearty appreciation. So I'll now call on my chairman to come and join me here. appreciate our guest. I also invite my fellow council members and members of the consultative forum. Please come so that we can appreciate our guest.
Yes, we will give you a chance, just a minute. So, the members of the National Consultative Forum and the council members, and also our honorable members of parliament, kindly join me. We want to give this, we want to give this to our chief guest. I'm also told there are two for the members of parliament.
Your Excellency, I wish to confirm there is nothing inside. Actually, from the institute point of view, this is a mere insignia. It bears the name of the institute. Nothing new. It can carry a few books, and since I suspect that your children are above carrying books, the grandchildren, I am sure, can do very well with this. Yes. And so, on behalf of this gathering, we wish to present this one to you.
What a demonstration of openness and governance. Oh, I wish there was something in there. But on the other hand, I want to tell my brother he's given me his contribution, his written presentation, because these members must actually leave now to attend the afternoon session. I realize you have taken a lot of your own time, and this is all very good. I'll catch up with Kinuga Mwangi. I know how to. Thank you so much.
As a way of recruiting these honorable members into the profession, we want to give them bags to carry boots when they register for the exams.
There's nothing inside. You always know when it's
Thank you.
Your Excellency, thank you very much. That was a very outstanding presentation. And because you have both Senate and National Assembly represented here, a crisis has been disclosed here. The independence of county public service boards. As a crisis, I pointed this out to the Senate in 2017 when I was invited. I was already out of the transition authority. I would have done it if I was in the transition authority. Now, the county assemblies had the same problem. And the late Mahero came to me as national chairman of transition authority. And I engaged Senate, I engaged the controller of budget, and we had a vote created for the county assemblies. They no longer depended on the government for goodwill. For now, this national county service public boards have been thinking about for the last so many years. And I think it now falls on Senate, particularly, to move a motion. Because if in the County Public Service, in the Intergovernmental Relations Act, we have Council of Governors already incorporated and institutionalized as a body, why can't we have National County Public Service Board, where these boards are answerable to? They are appointed by that body, and not appointed by governments, and they are answerable to that. Right now, if a public servant is, if somebody in the county government feel aggrieved, they are going to Public Service Commission. Why? They should apply to that board. So before you go out for the request, you can put it in your presidential manifesto. Ask Senate here to bring a motion, and Sergeant, these boards must be independent. Let my teacher.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Before you leave, these delegates here want a photo with you. So we have organized a group photo. So we request you allow our guests to move. We will allow our guests to move. I don't know whether you
we have a very distinct presentation. First, with all the respect according to the counties and the many, I'm sure each and every